It's unexplainable.
Melanated match. It's unexplainable. It's unconditional. It's unforgettable. Unstoppable. So intentional. It's so invitable. Indescribable.
Hello, and welcome to His
and Her Perspective.
And here at His and Her Perspective, we harmonize find common ground to harmonize relationships. And we are so sorry about that thing that just happened.
It's a minor glitch, that's all it is.
If you know somebody that's still over there, just tell them to come on over here so that we can keep this conversation, get it going and keep it going. So if you are looking at us right now, make sure that you are sharing. Why? Because sharing is caring. Make sure that you're subscribing to all of our pages. That's Coach Vaughn, the Love Alchemist. It's Vaughn, the Love Alchemist on all social media platforms. Coach Michelle Monet on all social media platforms. And ATR, All Things Relevant, on all social media platforms, so that you can get all of the videos that we're going to be uploading, as well as the other videos that ATR has on the platform. There's a lot of information over there, financial, relationships with us, and some other things going on over there that you really would be interested in looking at. So make sure that you tap into that. And listen, if you're looking at us right now, make sure that you tell us who you are and where you're chiming in from so that we can say hi. We'd love to say that. Hello, brother. How are you doing today? I'm
well. How are you?
I am absolutely wonderful.
You look nice.
Well, you as well. Thank you so much. We look so royal.
It's something regal about these colors.
It really is. I feel regal. You know, I feel like I should have a crown.
You look like you should have one.
I accept that as a compliment, and I'm going to hold on to it. Okay.
Do that.
Today we are going to let me talk about this first. Let's gloat a little bit on us. This is our anniversary month, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
This is our Juniversary, and today we're having some Juniversary conversations, straight. No chaser. Today we're going to talk about, man, woman, what do you really want? Are you dealing in reality or delusion? We're going to have this conversation. It's going to be good, y'all. So make sure that you're sharing. Click the share button. Don't forget to hit the heart. Don't forget the like button. The like button is just a little thing. Hit the heart button. The big old heart lets you know that you love us because we love you too. And if you have not gone over to our YouTube page, make sure that you do that. Hit the red bell and the subscribe button so that you can get all the notifications of the emails of the videos we have going on.
Mm-hmm.
So do we have a couple today?
No, I thought we was moving right on into it.
We're moving into it because we are a little bit behind. So we're just going to get right on in. Today, listen, who's on here? Nobody's going to come in and talk to us today.
Yeah, I think we have.
We threw people off, but stay with us.
Yeah, I think we threw people off a little bit.
They're coming in. I see the numbers going up, so they're coming in. Listen, y'all. So if there's something that you have had on your chest and you have said, you know what, I wish that men only knew this. Or for the guys, if the guys are on here and you just said you really wish that women only knew this is your time to chime in and let all the women know. We are on 8 different pages. We got a lot going on, so we are really excited about that. Our true anniversary to the His and Her Perspective show is going to be on Father's Day, which is June the 20th. That will be our 1 year here showing you guys love through the His and Her Perspective show. Hi, Cheryl. That's your mom on the line. Hello, how are you? We got Sharon Gomez over from Dallas, Texas. Hello. No, it's warm there. So we need to, let's see, do we need to go over and make some notifications over on Facebook over there to tell people?
I think they're starting to trickle in a little bit for it.
Yeah, because we don't. Hey, Danielle. Yep, they coming on in. Hello, how you doing? Hey, Desi. There you go. So they're coming on in. Thank you so much for joining us. We're sorry about the snafu we had going on. A little technical difficulties, but that's all right. So, brother, what you think about this topic here?
Man, it's a trip because so many problems connecting with one another. There's so many men who are complaining that women don't understand what we need. Women refuse to be submissive is one of the things that I keep hearing. And then I keep hearing women on the other hand saying that many of these men are not worthy of the submission that they seek. So there's a lot of, I think we're missing each other on some very simple and foundational concepts, principles, and maybe we can clear some of that up today.
I think that we shall. Hello, Ron. How are you? Hey, Elizabeth Sharp over there. How you doing? Thank you all so much for joining us. Make sure that you're sharing, hitting that heart button, and just keep hitting the heart button so that we know that you love us. Mm-hmm. So listen, some of these things that I think that the men and women are having battles against is not really understanding the gender thing, right? So it's like we really want the fundamental things, I think, the same, men and women do. Yep. I just don't think that we verbalize them the same. Or I don't think that we communicate them the same. I think that that's one of the things that makes it look like women want so much or men don't, they just want sex. No, I think that we fundamentally want somebody that's kind, somebody that's loving, somebody that's going to support us, somebody that's going to make sure that they're patient with us, that they can handle us. Some people don't like that word handle, but I think that we really just overall really want the same things. Family, do you think that you've had issues with your significant other, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, where you've had trouble trying to get them to understand what it is that you want? Chime in. We'd love to hear that. So what do you think that men want? Speak for the men today.
I think you hit it on the head when you said that foundationally, principally, we want the same things. I think we all really want the same things because we all have the same basic needs. Right. But we express them differently. And we did a TikTok about that, kind of highlighting the difference in the styles of communication from masculine and feminine. Yeah. But there are reportedly like 6 basic human needs. And so one of them is certainty, right? We all look for a level of certainty. And then second, we all look for a level of, and so let me just touch on that a little bit. Certainty is kind of like security. Yeah. We all want to feel safe, secure, and foundationally, we want at least a certain level or a minimum level of certainty with respect to what we're going to get in our mate. So maybe that looks like, hey, if I can believe that you're not going to cheat on me and I'm not going to cheat on you, and then we can build up from there because we're in this committed relationship. And then right behind that is almost tricky because now we're looking for a little bit of uncertainty, and that comes in the way of variety. They say variety is the spice of life, right? So surprise me every now and then. Throw me a curveball. We don't want the mundanity of the daily routine. All right. Kind of want a little bit of a break from the norm, and then from there, we're all looking for a sense of connection, and some people might call that love, right? And don't get it twisted. I hear pastors all the time. And I hear all kind of relationship gurus all the time saying things like men want respect and women want love. Don't get it twisted. Men want love and women want respect too.
Equally. Absolutely.
It may rank a little bit differently depending on the person that you're dealing with, but nobody wants to be unloved and nobody wants to be disrespected.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Next, I would say contribution. We all have a sense of wanting to feel like what we bring to the table is valuable to someone else, worthy. How can we contribute? How can we maybe make someone else's life better, not just our own? Right. And then there's significance. We all want to feel important or special or unique in some way. Nobody wants to just fit in and blend. Look, even a dead fish can go with the flow.
Right.
We all want to feel some sense of uniqueness, something special about us. There's something different, our own personal signature. Look, we all have different fingerprints, right?
Right.
So I'm saying, foundationally speaking, what I'm saying is that we all want the same things. They just manifest. The desires are manifested in different ways. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think so too. And that you kind of spoke about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And it just really goes into the overall things of physiological needs, the safety, the loving and belonging, the esteem, and the self-actualization. And all of those things go into every human wants those same basic things. Sharon over here says that she wants a man to just be a man and to be responsible, and I'm sure that a man wants a woman to be a woman and to also be supportive. But this is the thing. Do people really know what it means to be a man or what it means to be a woman? Or have we all decided what those different things are? Have we made those differences?
Right. See, and being a man means different things to different people. Being a woman means different things to different people. If I grew up watching my mama and my grandmama, and they made the best apple pie and they make the best lasagna, and they gave me these images, these ideas of what womanhood is.
Yeah.
And then if I try to project that onto my wife, who doesn't know her way around the kitchen, right? Can't bake, don't know the first thing about making my grandmama's famous apple crumb cake, crumb pie, right? And so if I project my ideas about womanhood onto her, she's looking at me like, well, I can't do that. So now am I not a woman? And then maybe at me like, well, my daddy and my granddaddy knew how to fix cars. They knew how to build houses. And maybe all I know how to do is go out here and get money and pay people to build my house and pay people to fix my car. So am I not a man now? So again, I think healthy conversation about what this entails, what these different things mean. And then are we being realistic when we project onto each other these different ideals that we grew up with? Because we all don't grow up the same way.
Right. And I like that you said that. Let's talk about, I'm gonna go back to that. Yarley says beautiful, aspirational, feminine, cooperative, agreeable, and fit. Yes. And we want the same things. We want men to be handsome. We want them to and be inspirational. We want them to be manly. We want them to cooperate. We want them to be agreeable, and we want them to be fit. I think we really want the same things. Kevin says that he learned how to be a man from 666 Mafia. Okay. In that order. Okay. This is the thing. I think that people are not having the healthy conversations about that because it's uncomfortable. So if you tell, if I'm with a guy and I'm like, so I think that a man to me is, or he says to me, well, I think that a woman to him is, and then we have these different views, then it can't come across and we'll end up defensive where, what do you mean? You telling me how to be that? Again, like you said. So if you're having these conversations and you're not safe, the conversation it's not showing empathy. It's not allowing for differences of perspective. It's not following your heart and it's not elevating the positive, then the conversation about that will not be safe. And then people are not being receptive, and all the things that you're saying is falling on hard ground, on the stony ground instead of the fertile ground. And you're not able to get through exactly what you're trying to say. Right. Because what I need, the next woman may not need. And Yarley says, and rich. No, I'm not even actually looking for a rich man. He doesn't need to be rich. He needs to know how to learn. He needs to know how to get some money.
Now, look, I hear a lot of women say things like, look, let me back up just a little bit, because they say that men get with women hoping that she won't change. Women get with men hoping that he will.
And he does change.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that when I look at how many women seem to approach relationships, one of the areas that y'all miss the mark is because you don't accept a man for who he is right now.
Yeah.
And so if you have these ideas that, well, he wears white socks with sandals right now, but I could change that. Right?
Yeah.
And that man might really love wearing white socks with sandals, and he might grow old doing that.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, when you get with this man, the man that he is right now, you better learn how to fall deeply in like with who that cat is today. And then you embrace whatever healthy changes, adaptations, and growth may come as a result of y'all's union. But don't go into that relationship thinking, okay, he misses the mark in this way, and then you're expecting these changes because you're setting yourself up for failure. But they say expectation is the mother of disappointment, right?
Yeah.
So learn to embrace that man for who he is right now. And then I'll flip that on the men and say, you would be naive to expect your woman to not grow or change, right? We're all going to change. We're continuously evolving. And so she's going to change in some ways now. Hopefully who she is at her core, who she is principally won't change. But again, you would be naive to think that she's not going to evolve. Just hopefully that she does evolve in a healthy way. Danielle Bush said, change is good.
Yeah. This is a thing though. I think that men secretly want some change too, because like he might meet her and she may have on makeup, but he doesn't necessarily like makeup. He may not like the weave, but she was cute in it, but he really could do without. And so he's like secretly on the low, baby, you don't have to wear that. Baby, you don't got to do that. So he's looking for her to change just as much, because we're looking for people to be these perfect beings that we have sized up in our minds, in our imaginations, and said, this is what I'm looking for, versus allowing yourself to be open, vulnerable, and see what you see in front of you. And that's it. Not look for the potential, because women got a habit of doing that. Women will look for the potential in a man. Well, I can, you know what? Yep, I can make him into this. He gonna be rich because I'm gonna come in and do this and I'm gonna do that. Oh yeah, I'm gonna change him, and then he ain't gonna wear them bell bottoms like he used to. You know, all of those types of things.
Right.
But I think that we all come in with this idea of what we think our mate should look like, versus us going in with it's like I saw this commercial of one of this it's YouTube. They did this couple and she was blind, and he took good looking couple, and she's like, yeah, you know, I was in the house walking through the hospital, and the nurse said to her, are you fully blind? And she goes, yes. And she was like, oh my God, how did you catch him? Because I can see, and I can't get a man looking like that. And so then she not only said it to her once, but twice. And by the third time, the husband was like, listen, don't say that to my wife anymore. Yes, she's blind. Yes, I married her when she was blind. She doesn't know what I look like, but we love each other and we're together. So it's like, if people could go in with take off these preconceived ideas of what we think our mates to be. Yes, you're going to have those standards. You should have those standards of what you want, but those should be internal things that are just corely there. And if you have those core things of what you want your partner to be, and stop expecting them to be anything else than who they are, then you messing up. I always tell my clients, if you want to get the best out of your partner, make sure that you're letting them be 100% them.
Yep. That's it. You know, it's funny that you say that, because this piece about being blind, there are some really attractive, sexy people out here with a lot of pain in their wake.
Yep.
Right. And so oftentimes we get so caught up and so enamored with how sexy somebody is on the outside that we don't really pay enough attention to what's going on the inside.
On the inside.
We fall in love with the external only to be let down by the internal. So, I mean, you made an excellent point. So I'm just saying that ultimately, man, we got to really start focusing more on who the person is. I've talked to so many brothers who have let women go, who maybe her chest wasn't as full as he would have liked. Maybe those hips and thighs weren't quite as curvaceous and voluptuous as he would have wanted, but she was excellent wife material.
Yes.
And superb mother material. And he let that go only to, so in other words, he was playing catch and release with keepers.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's this story. I'm just gonna make it real quick, but there was this farmer on the African plain, and he wanted he owned this farm, this big huge farm. He had all these acres of land, and he had heard about all of these other farmers who had sold their land in the pursuit of finding diamonds. And he went out, he sold his land, and he went and spent the rest of his life looking for diamonds. But he sold his farm to another man for pennies on the dollar. Mm-hmm. And then the man that he sold his farm to stumbled across a pond on the property, and he looked down and saw this big gleaming gem in the bottom of the creek. And it turned out that the property was filled with those same precious stones. This man had acres of diamonds. It turns out he had the largest diamond. He was sitting on top of the largest diamond reserve on the entire continent of Africa, but he sold them in the pursuit of diamonds elsewhere. The moral of the story is, if you don't recognize a diamond in its rough state, you'll get rid of it for little or nothing, only to pursue elsewhere.
Yep.
And so I'm saying that there are a lot of us who get rid of people who are diamonds in the rough.
Yeah.
We don't know how to recognize a diamond in its rough state. And so if it's not already polished up, we don't know how to buff it and polish it, right? Everybody want to be a diamond till it's time to get cut.
Come on.
And so since we don't know how to polish a diamond up in its rough state, we throw it back. And we go out there and look for the things that are shiny on the outside.
Yep.
But ain't no substance on the inside.
Nothing. It's flawed. And this is the thing. I love that, because it's like so many people are walking around here doing that. It is, and that's why you have, because this is the thing. Like, I hear women all the time, it's not enough men out here. I hear men say it ain't no good women out here. If it's hundreds and thousands of men and women saying the exact same thing, what do you think it really is? Are you being delusional about what you really want? Or are you living in a reality that only you live in? Which one is it? I mean, because something's happening if you have men and women saying there's no good men, there's no good women out here. What's the problem with that? As you say, what the problem is. Yeah. You know, it's like, what is the problem? I don't get it, because we got to get to the place where we're not battling each other. Figure out what it is that's on the inside of you that you need to change, right? And then you will start to attract that thing that you really want, because you're going to attract that which you are, not what you want. Yarley says, because wearing makeup, weaves, fake nails, eyes is fake and not reality. You are projecting your own uncomfortable dislike for your own image. You want real, but you come fake. Wow.
Heavy.
That is heavy, because let me tell you, honey, it's a lot of women like myself who wear those things. And I know women, ladies, what y'all got to say about that? Talk about this, because I don't think that just because you want to enhance your beauty that you're fake. What do you think about that, brother?
No, I don't think it necessarily means that. Now, if your sense of well-being is tied to the superficial things that you adorn, then that's going to be a problem. So if you don't feel good about yourself, unless you have the spider eyelashes, right? and the extra weave, and it's just like a lot of men. If you don't feel good about yourself, unless you make six figures, or unless you pull up in a 007 Bentley, or like we are bringing these things into our lives. We're adding these things to our lives to make us feel good, rather than feeling good, dealing with the man or woman on the inside who doesn't feel good, and then adding these things to us. And so it's a problem. And I find myself coaching so many people through this idea of trying to make themselves feel better by adding things, adding superficial things to their lives. And no amount of logic or reasoning is going to help people through the pain that they feel from showing up with a sense of inadequacy. So
now listen, though, because, men, they get their hair recede. What do? They cut it off. When they start to show the gray, what do? They cover it up.
No, I'm sorry. You're talking about other people. Go ahead.
Not you. You proud of your gray and it looks great. But there are some brothers out here who going and getting the just for men. And we tell them, nah, brother, don't cover that up. It looks great. We love to see the gray. Even the young women want to see the gray. And so it's not just women who are, when you go and get a guy who adornment is adornment. I think that there is some overkill. You get, like you said, when your lash is able to touch somebody, then you are absolutely right. But it is nothing wrong with adorning, because I promise you, these same men that do not want their woman to have these fake things on, they looking at the porn, they're looking at the IG models, they're looking at the magazines, they walking down the street checking the same type of chicks out. And see, this is going back to what the Maslow's hierarchy of needs is, the esteem. I was talking to a couple the other day, and I was sharing with them that people talk about self-esteem more than they talk about social esteem. But social esteem is probably just as equally important as the self-esteem. Why? Because we don't get self-esteem from ourselves. We learn self-esteem from people that are raising us up, called our parents. It didn't come from ourselves. It came from them building us up, which means it was social esteem first. So the social esteem that we get from our partners is, baby, what you think I look like in this dress? Baby, how you think this suit look on me? Baby, you think I should cut my beard, my hair because it's receding? You think I should wear these earrings, baby? We want to be validated, whether we want to admit it or not, by our partner, by the person that we call our mate, the one that we're looking at every day going, man, we want to impress. Because if we didn't want to impress them, we wouldn't do anything. We would walk around with bonnets on our heads. We would walk around with t-shirts that are stretched out the way. We would walk around with them white knee socks. So we're trying to impress them, that's social esteem. We've got to get to the place where we stop talking about you got to get your own self-esteem. Yeah, we need to be confident in ourselves. Absolutely. But we also need to understand that when we are partnered up, we're going to get some of that esteem from each other.
Mm-hmm. It's funny you say that too, because when you I look at my grandchildren. Yes, I'm an old man. See, don't let the smooth taste fool you. I have 5 grandchildren. And when they go and look in the mirror, they don't know the first thing about inadequacy. They don't know anything about whether or not my hair is too short or my skin is too dark. Am I anything other than, wow, that's my reflection and it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
They don't learn. They don't begin feeling inadequate until they start coming in contact with other people. And then that's when that esteem gets deflated to a degree, and then it needs to be built back up, or those efforts to deflate that esteem, if they're not inundated with enough resistance to that, right? A cultural barrier. Look, Black people particularly, we're not known for having a very high level of race esteem. And that's
yeah.
And this is why every time, or I won't say every time, but I will say oftentimes, if we think that somebody can add lighter eyes to what our child might come out with, or they might add looser curly texture than the tight freedom curls that our great granddaddy and grandma had, right? So many times we're looking to what we consider an upgrade when other people mix with us. So we have, in addition to low social esteem, low self-esteem, many of us are suffering from low race esteem too.
That's good. That's good. Hey, James, how are you doing? So Michael says that too busy looking for Cardi B when they need to be looking for Proverb 31.
Speak on that Proverbs 31.
Come on, let me talk about the Proverb 31 woman that don't exist.
Go ahead.
That woman, she ain't nowhere to be found.
But she had
the Bible, it was an image. She wasn't real. Let me tell you what happened. If you go back and you really read that story, that was an overprotective mother telling her son to go look for this woman because she didn't want him to find somebody. Not, I want you to be very clear, not saying that a woman cannot inhabit some of those things. She will never be all of them. And when we look, this is the thing that the church has done, the part of the esteem that the church has done to our women, making us think that if we are not Proverb 31 woman, we ain't doing everything that it's a long chapter. Okay. If we're not doing that, then we're not wife material. And if we're not wife material, then we'll never be valuable enough to get that. Every time a person says she needs to be a Proverb 31 woman and she's not, and she knows she got some flaws, some shortcomings. I don't like to cook. I cook because I want to eat. Will I cook? Absolutely. Can I cook? I can throw down, but I don't necessarily like to. So does that make me a bad woman? Does that make me a woman that would not take good care of her husband? Absolutely not. It does not take away from me. But according to what the church has told us, if it's not Proverb 31, she should get up early in the morning and she should be doing things with her hands, paraphrasing, and she should be cooking and she should be tilling the land to get the vegetables and all these different things. It's too much pressure. It's too much pressure. When we go to the Ephesians 5 men, okay, it's too much pressure for y'all. It really is. How about you just be good and kind? How about you treat people with respect and honor and integrity? How about you do those things? Because I'm telling you, probably anywhere from 95 to 100% of the time, you love on somebody, they will go far above. I mean, like, I'm not talking about that superficial love, that stuff that's, just let me just get you to love me real quick so that you can give me some love. I'm talking about when a woman really knows that her man is there, when a man really knows that his woman is supportive, cooperative, and they just vibe like that. They will go far beyond what you ask them to do because they want to please you. That's really all that you really need to do. But so many times people are so busy going, well, what you doing for me? Now, what you doing for me? Why? Yeah, I ain't doing more. Yeah, I ain't doing more. That's too much. It's too much pressure.
Look, now you're talking about the Proverbs 31 and Ephesians 5. There's a narrative out here right now that's keeping a lot of men and women at odds, right?
Yeah.
So you have a lot of brothers right now that want a woman who's submissive. Right now, the challenge with that, and I know a lot of people subscribe to that notion. That's cool. Do you? I'm not going to argue with that. What I'm saying, though, is that submission means different things to different people.
Yeah.
Right. It's not. And some people, in some people's minds, submission means to dominate. There are some men who literally want to dominate their women. There are some women out here who, unless their man shows up dominating them, then they feel he's showing up inadequately, right? So we have some very warped ideas about what masculine and feminine relating is. What I suggest is that we find someone who we can cooperate with. If you want to throw submission in, once you find that level of cooperation, is what you bring to the table enough for me to feel good about?
Right.
Is what I bring to the table enough for you to feel good about? Okay, then we can hammer out a deal. Maybe we can cooperate around these different areas, and then submission may come somewhere in the throw of that. But just showing up, having these conversations, I'm 40 years old, you 40 years old, and I'm talking about, will you submit to me? It's the wrong framing. It's the wrong framework to build a relationship around. How about we just meet each other, have a conversation, and find out if I like what you like, if you like what I like, and your dislikes don't rub me so hard the wrong way, and vice versa. Let's find out if we can cooperate first before we start talking about all this submission and all this other stuff.
Yeah, because again, we have this thing where we use words, especially the word. We have some people have some things about that, but the word of God that has been translated by man has been used to control And it has been used for generations and thousands of years to do so. And so that has been the problem with people submitting one to another. Because we always want to go to the one scripture, wives, submit to your husbands. But then it also says that husbands, submit to your wives. So submit one to another. It just really means to sub, to go under, to meet your needs. Go under to meet your needs. When you do that, you're going under. What is that? What is going under? When you go under something, you are not you're going under to lift up. You're going under to build up. You're going under to push up. Anything that's under, like when you put seeds in the ground, what the seeds do? They go up. You're going under to go up. You're not going under to step down. Because that doesn't even make sense. Think about that. If you want something to submit to you, it's going under to push up. And if you're stepping on it to control it, you're counteracting against the entire process of what you're really asking for. So if you're asking for your wife to be submissive to you and she's going under to lift you up, right, to submit to you, and you're putting your foot on top of her and you're pushing her down, y'all fighting. Y'all doing that. So go back under her to help her bring you back up. Undergird her to help her build you back up. Because if you build her up, she's going to build you. It's just inevitable. If you giving and I'm giving, we giving, everybody receiving, nobody's lacking anything. But more people than not are so busy trying to take. They're trying to be seeking to be understood rather than be seeking to understand.
Reciprocity is what you're talking about.
That's exactly what that is.
Let me switch gears and get a little bit. I'm not going to get too graphic, but we did say straight no chaser, right?
Straight no chaser.
Watch this. Much of how we interact. We all grown here, right? Let me make sure ain't nobody that's 12 years old.
Ain't nobody 12 years old now. Okay.
So, much of how we interact is rooted in a very violent understanding of what it means to relate to one another. Watch this. Sex energy is the strongest energy available to men and women, right? And arguably the most important exchange that we're going to ever have. Now, it's been watered down and reduced to something meaningless for most people. Now, for most people, it's just a nut.
Right.
But just because you've reduced it to that doesn't mean that that's the only importance that it actually holds.
Right.
And here's the problem. Or a problem. Much of our ideas surrounding that energy exchange, the rhetoric is violent. The F word is a very forceful and violent word. I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna smash it. I'm gonna pound it. I'm gonna beat it up. Right? I'm gonna smack it. I'm gonna bust down. We got all these words with a very violent connotation surrounding the idea of connecting, but no words that describe or bring meaning to the actual connection, right? So when we do get together, many of us don't even have the right ideas. So much so to the point that if our woman isn't willing to deal with the pain that we might inflict on her, right? And then watch this. Even the women, early in my relationship, can I get transparent?
Come on.
Early in my relationship, my wife would sometimes be hurting during sex. Now, in my young mind, I'm the man.
You thought you was doing it. You like, I'm tearing it up.
But, but she's not saying, hey, let's switch it up. Hey, that hurts. Let's do something different. She feels obligated to tolerate that. Because not only am I erroneously programmed to think that that's okay, so was she, right? And so many of us feel like if we don't have a woman who's willing to tolerate that abuse, because that's really what it is, it's misuse of the act of sex. And by default, anything that you misuse, you're abusing, right? And so I was actually abusing the energy exchange. Expecting something healthy to come as a result or as a return on that investment. And so not only are the men incorrectly programmed, but many women are also incorrectly programmed around these ideas surrounding something as sacred and supposedly fruitful as sex. And instead of looking for a fruitful arrangement, we're more consumed with the nut.
You know what? How about this? I have saw so many, and I should have tagged you on those posts about men feeling like or believing that it's her responsibility for her to get hers. Like, where that go from? I mean, like, when is that ever? What do y'all think about that? That the woman is responsible for getting hers and he's responsible for getting his, which means that why y'all doing it together?
Right. You can just masturbate if that's what it is.
And we already had the we had the you you done ticked off some people on Facebook about that whole thing.
They didn't like my
they ain't like that one.
Yeah.
Spilling off that seed. The word talks about it. Spilling your seed and wasting your seed for nothing. Anyway, so
when pleasure is your guide, the only thing that matters is that you feel good.
That's it. You're not looking at the whole the bigger part of that, right? It's a bigger picture to that. So let me ask you this, brother. What do you think about the whole thing when men are do you think that men are being delusional about the things that they're asking for with bug?
Uh-oh.
Sorry, y'all. Y'all know I don't like bugs. And it just flew in my face.
Uh-oh.
Okay, sorry.
All right. Woosah, get back.
Right.
All right.
Y'all know I don't like bugs. Listen. So what do you think? Do you think that men are being delusional about the things that they're asking for with women? Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of delusion going back and forth between men and women. So you have a lot of men who are looking for women who really don't exist or exist in such a small proportion that
like what?
It's not even really work. So, all right, here's one thing. We're talking about fit, fine, and friendly, right?
Okay.
That's a pretty easy one. But we also want her to be able to cook like grandma. We also want her to be able to throw it down like a porn star in the bedroom. We also want her to be a fabulous, nurturing mother and a wonderful, awesome wife that put that battery in our back. Like, is it too much to ask if you can maybe perhaps groom her into a lot of these things that you want? That's doable, right? But to ask a woman to show up into your life that way already, it's not very real. It's as unrealistic as expecting a man for a woman to expect a man. Look, he ain't good enough unless he's 6 feet tall, he's 8 inches long, he make $100,000 a year, and he's also a great listener, a great conversationalist. And oh, by the way, he goes out and he works his butt off. I mean,
it's too much. It's just too much pressure.
When you start looking at the actual math, right, on the number of people who check these boxes that are on your list, right, you're gonna end up growing old, and that list gonna be so blurry because your eyes, you're gonna have to squint so hard to be able to read what's on that list. That's how long you're gonna be looking at them. Somebody man got to be 5'3".
Right.
Somebody man got to have a 4-5 inch penis. I mean, let's keep it 1,000, right? We're gonna keep it a stat. Somebody's woman gonna be a little overweight. Maybe her breasts ain't as big. Maybe she's not as curvaceous and voluptuous, but she's still a good woman. Like, it's gonna be some trade-offs. And then when you factor into the equation that you are probably not showing up as this ideal image that she had in mind, or that he had in mind. Like, we're all bringing some shortcomings to the table.
Everybody.
In some form or fashion. So, yeah, I think people are being very unrealistic in many regards.
Yeah. So Michael said, he answered the question, her responsibility to get hers. Wow. Yes, a person should know their body because it increases the opportunity for increased pleasure for everyone. But at the end of the day, intimacy is always better when it's selfless on both sides. Absolutely. This is the thing. Not only is it better when it's selfless. When I was married, when I put it down, And I left him there sleeping with his thumb in his mouth. I walked away like, girl, you go. So it's ego boosting. But you to walk away and go, oh, I ain't do nothing for you. That who wants to feel like that? Who wants to walk away going, oh, babe, it is a narcissistic person that will walk away and go, well, you didn't get yours. I sure got mine.
Hey, look, it's people. Look, what is going to inspire somebody to want to come back to the bedroom with you if they leaving unfulfilled every time?
Unfulfilled. Speaking of this, let's talk about this because I want something you mentioned in there. Ladies, what are you thinking? I mean, like we know that seriously, if you look up the statistics, the average size of a man is 5 inches, really. And if you take his middle finger to the bottom of that's about how from his shaft to that's. So if you look at his hands,
I don't think that's accurate because that look, if you do that, that's probably more than 5 inches on most dudes.
From the shaft.
Okay.
You got to go up under there.
No, all right.
You got to go up under that. Those,
All right.
Okay. To then, because they're about right here. Right. So you go under here to there. Okay. Anyway, so
I don't know.
There's a post that's going out. A lot of this woman's talking about. She says, men, are you as long and wide as are you as long as wide to be acting the way that you do? And so I was reading some of the posts and some of the women were talking about, all that really doesn't matter if he's treating me good. Ladies, what are your thoughts about if a man is not as well endowed as you'd like him to be, but he's very kind to you? Is that okay? Is that something that you can deal with on the back end and go, well, we can work some things. I can teach him how to do this and teach him how to do that. And men, are you willing to hear a woman know that you're not really reaching that peak, that point back there because you're not long enough, or you not filling her out because you're not girth enough? Are you willing to hear her say, you know what, babe, that's not, wasn't that good? Can we work some things out? What are you willing to have the conversation about? Because it's a thing. If people are not willing to have the real straight no chaser conversation, then you'll never get over it. And that woman will be looking at somebody else every chance she gets.
Now, so let's say the guy is, he comes up a little short and a little slim, right? Little short, little slim, right?
Little slim.
Little short, little slim. Now, is it worth even having the conversation if it's nothing he can do about that?
Well, this is the thing. It may not be nothing he can do about the package, but he can add to the package. You can add some accessories.
Okay. All right.
Some accessories. You learn how to do some things, but you got to be willing to let her guide if it's not working. Because this is the thing. The first time you do it, right? It may not be because y'all trying to learn each other. It may or not, right? The second time, okay. But by that third time, if it ain't rocking and rolling, something's wrong.
Now, look. Dang, I lost my train of thought. I wanted to ask you something that I thought was profound, but
well, let's while you listen thinking. Danielle says, personally, one doesn't have to be well endowed. Honestly, who determines what's well endowed? I believe the connection is more important because he can be well endowed and be a jerk and be little and a sweetheart. I would take the sweetheart for 500, Alex. I would too.
That's what I was going to ask you. So, ladies, let me ask you this. And basically, I was going to ask that same question right there. If he came up a little short, a little narrow, but can he compensate in his attitude and his overall appeal as far as his connection to you intellectually, emotionally, and all of those things? Can he compensate in that way, in ways that he might come up short in the bedroom? Is that acceptable for the ladies? Ladies, if you're there, press 1 if that's acceptable. Press 2 if you think it's not. And I have to ask that because I know that there are a lot of women who say if he can't hit the spot, then she ain't going.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that I personally think that a lot of women, more than not, are being made love to here. So if he's kind to her, treating her good, really, really, really like tapping into her psyche, touching her soul, you know what I'm saying? Everything else will just come and just go. It'll just mesh together. But if he's a jerk and he got nothing, he little and slim and thin, he got a lot of nerve. And that's what the post was about. You got a lot of nerve to be acting, because this is the thing. Most dudes know they ain't got no package. They know it. And then they have the nerve to act some kind of way. Wait a minute.
Samore did the comedian Samore did a routine about that. And she said something like, if you come up short, there's two types of conversations that you have, and there's one conversation if you holding heavy, then you got it. You have the ability to carry a little more bass in your voice. Louder.
Right.
If you coming up short, lower your voice.
Right. And it was a little bit more graphic because I remember that.
Yeah, it's a little more colorful than that. But
right.
I think go ahead. Danielle says, I'm in the category I want what's inside and not a big whatever fruit is.
That's a eggplant.
Eggplant, yeah. Elizabeth says sex can always be worked out on. I care about how he treats me. His personality is what I care about.
Absolutely. And I think that I think that most women feel that way.
I think so too.
That's
probably true. Now
we're okay with the average man being 5 inches.
Now, right. And look, if that's the average, right, then there are a lot of women that are walking around on this planet that are probably fulfilled with that 5 inches, but a meaningful connection and a healthy relationship dynamic, right?
Can we talk about the other side? Because I want to give the man. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the other side to that would be, what if a man does show? I know that there are women who will tolerate a lot of nonsense when we do show up well endowed, right?
Yeah.
But I listen, I have counseled couples through, where the sex is great because maybe he's doing it, he's doing it to the nth degree and she's loving that part. She's climbing the walls and all of that, but he's still losing her because his relationship skills suffer.
Yeah.
So you can't just be short and little and coming underserving her with great personality, no more than you can over deliver in the bedroom, but underserve her in other ways as far as the relating dynamic goes. So there's a combination of things that need to take place. And I think at the core of it all, your connection has to be solid, and we can always improve on that.
Absolutely. Hello, Self-Mastery. Thank you for joining us. Tanil says, amen. And then Danielle says, no man want a woman who they just fall into either. That's where I was going. Because no man don't want to be like, clinking.
Got to put a 2x4 on his back so he don't fall in.
He's like, what the heck? I don't feel nothing. Y'all better.
Kegels. My man Michael Reed said Kegels.
Kegels.
Yeah.
And some cumin.
Uh-oh. Tricks of the trade.
Tricks of the trade. Go ahead, put a tablespoon of cumin in your bathtub, ladies.
Uh-oh. Well, there it is. Draw that thing right on up. And y'all be tricking us.
Everything Danielle says. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is for sure. Because we have to understand that but it's really going to be the main ingredient in this whole matter is you've got to be able to have those raw conversations. I have a couple, and they blessed my heart yesterday when I met with them because, yesterday I was having a rough day. And I was like, Lord, encourage my heart, right? And they began to share with me, because I was doing my review. I do a review with my couples every 30 to 60 days. And they were saying, man, Coach Michelle Monet, if we had not met you, we don't know where we would have been, because I remember when I first introduced them, because I'm for precursoring things, if you will, right? So I don't want to just deal with what you're dealing with. Let's talk about what you possibly could deal with. And a lot of people are like, why are we bringing up stuff that ain't even happened? Because you need to be prepared. When you get on the plane, did you fall out the sky? But they tell you what to do when you get, if that did happen. When you buy your car, you buy insurance. Are you hoping that you're going to go outside off the lot and hit something? No, but you buy insurance. So why is it that we do things for everything else except for our relationship? And they were sharing with me. They're like, man, they had some family things going on this past week, and they dealt with some things that I had told them. And in the beginning, they was like, why do we want to talk about that? But they were like, we were really surprised because the tools and the strategies I had given them, telling them what to look for if these happen and how to deal with it if this happened. They were like, man, you prepared us for this week that we just had, and have you not prepared us, we wouldn't have known how to handle it, and it could have gone way left. We have to be able to have these conversations with our partners, even when the things are going good.
Right. That's the time to have those
things. And people are not, because they feel like, well, I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to say nothing. We doing so good. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be a full-fledged, we arguing thing. Have a conversation. Be safe in the conversation and say, babe, you know what? How we handle this? What would you do if you lost a child? What would you do if your parent got sick and you had to bring the parent into the house? What would you do if either one of you lost your jobs? What would you do if somebody did look the other way? How would you handle that? These are conversations that you should have as a couple, even if they're not happening.
These are courageous conversations.
They really are.
And it takes these conversations require a level of vulnerability on both sides. Now, many of us are experiencing so much pain, and what these things, because of our previous relationship failures, many of us are fearful of making ourselves vulnerable enough in relationship to have these types of conversations.
Right.
If you can't get to the next level in your relationship without a certain level of vulnerability, right, exposing yourself to your mate in a way that allows them to see the softer side of yourself. Now, a lot of guys don't like to hear that kind of conversation, but the reality is your woman can't, I'm talking to the brothers right now, your woman can't show up for you in the ways that you need her most if she's unaware of what some of your greatest concerns are.
Right.
So here we are out here thinking, we got it. But look, there are a lot of men out here that are stressed out too. And you might be surprised how many men actually cry. I have had more men cry to me over the last 6 months to a year than I've had in my whole life. And it's because men are reaching a breaking point too, where they're so frustrated and they don't know what to do about many of these things, and they don't know what to share with their wives versus not sharing with their wives. Right. Does it make me look weak if I share this versus, where's that line, right? And so, and a lot of women too, they're dealing with a lot of the same things because of their previous frustrations, and they don't want to overshare because of fear of alienating their man too. So, right, courageous conversations, family, they have to happen.
And the thing is, I think that we have gotten to the place where, again, we've had so much trauma created towards us as individuals, as couples, as a community, that every word that is out there, we're like, oh, vulnerability, we don't want to be vulnerable. I remember having this conversation with a family member of my ex-husband, and I was like, he won't be vulnerable. And she's like, why would you want him to be vulnerable? And I was like, why would you say that? So she brings the dictionary out. The word vulnerable means the number one, definition says open to attack. then I just looked at her and said, wait a minute. So if I say I want my man to be vulnerable to me, wouldn't you have to pay attention who the person is that's saying be vulnerable? Wouldn't you have to take that into account? Would I want him open to attack? Because this is the thing that we have to understand about people and each other as partnerships and relationships. If a person that you are in relationship with wants the best out of you, why would they intentionally tear you down?
Right.
Because they're not going to get the best out of you. You're sucking them dry when you're attacking them. You're creating a weakness in them, and that weakness can turn into fury. So you got to be careful about how we look at these words. We always want to go to the negative connotation of what these words mean. Go back to the origination of these words and what they mean.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this, look, Danielle, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Read it.
Michael Reed says we need to do it more, and we need to understand that it's okay. And we need to learn to be vulnerable in the circles of our brothers.
Yes,
sir.
Very true.
Look, I say it all the time. Men need men.
Absolutely.
And we think that, much of our brotherhood has been watered down to some of the things that we do for recreation. Maybe we play ball together. Maybe we play dominoes, play spades, smoke cigars. But there is another side of brotherhood. There's another side of brotherhood that we don't tap into, that we're supposed to be getting from one another. And we're supposed to be sharing wisdom and edifying one another as brothers, and passing that torch and teaching each other, sharing with each other some of these experiences that help make our lives better. But oftentimes we don't want to look so in our indigenous way of doing things, in our ancient cultural ways of doing things prior to being colonized, one of the ways to determine if a man had reached a satisfactory level of manhood was, is he in touch with the full range of his feelings, a full range of his emotions? In this culture, though, one of the primary ways that we measure manhood is by how well we can suppress those emotions, right? And so what we have now is a culture full of men who suppress those emotions. And ultimately, many of these men are exploding on the inside. Our suicide rate is crazy. Our domestic violence rate is off the charts. So this is the result of suppressing those emotions rather than having a healthy way to acknowledge and confront and deal with those emotions. So yeah, it is definitely important. Iron sharpens iron, right?
And this is the thing. This has been, we have to understand the attacks that has been on, and I don't have a hell or heaven to put nobody in. Okay, so I'm going to put on a tin hat, but I hope I don't offend anybody. The thing that has happened is that men are afraid to be vulnerable to other men in fear of looking gay. So that whole agenda that has happened is not just the agenda to pull our men away from our women, but also to pull the men away from each other so that there's no communication between them both, sharpening the iron so that they can create more manly men. Right. More men that are taking care of the community, more men that are taking care of their wives and their families, more men that will not waste their seed, more men that will not walk away from their seed, more men that will take care of and provide for and protect. So that whole thing has been taken and pushed against both sexes, men and women. And we're so busy talking about, well, man, I don't want no soft man. Well, then what does that mean? Because if he is vulnerable, he's going to show you a softer side. If he's vulnerable with another man, he should be able to open up to that guy and be like, man, I'm hurting. But men are not doing that because they don't want to look soft. They don't want to look like simps. They don't want to look like they gay.
I was on the phone yesterday with a client. Now, his son just graduated college, got his master's degree. And he just learned that while his son was in college, that his son was battling depression. He didn't know while his son was actually battling depression. He just now learned on the heels of that depression that his son had been battling that. Why?
Right.
Why is that? The reason is that while his son was young, his focus was on, I got to make him tough. I got to make him a man. He can't be no punk. I don't want him to be soft. And so what we don't realize, and I did the same thing to my son, right? We make the mistake as men of thinking that just because a man is sensitive, that it equates to him being soft.
Yep.
The two are not the same. Just because, as a matter of fact, the more, I don't want to say the more sensitive a man is, but you don't want a man that's sensitive.
Right.
Because one of the primary measurements of manhood is how much he actually cares.
Right.
Right. So what he ended up doing, which is part of what I did, and me and my son are actually doing well now, but for years we had a rough time because I had done so much work toward making sure that he was tough, making sure that he wasn't gonna be no softy. He was gonna be a man's man, you know. And so what my client yesterday was sharing to me is that him and his son right now are suffering. They don't have a connection right now. His son will barely even talk to him about things that matter. It's all surface stuff. Can we talk about guns? Can we talk about cars? But things that really mean something to him on the inside as a man, they don't even touch those things. He'll talk to his mama, but source of wisdom that my client is, because he is a source of wisdom, but that alienation piece, he can't even talk to the one that he's supposed to be passing that information down to. I'm saying all that to say this: we got to change the narrative with how we deal with our boys and with how we deal with each other as men. And this is why I love talking to men, because there are things that at 50 years old, I have a client right now that's 62 years old, and he's just now learning many of the things that we should have known when we were 30 and 35 years old. So I mean, we're in a rough spot, but it's got to be done. The work has to be done.
I want to talk about the feeling of that. Then we do this. I think it's important for women to know that it's okay for men to show emotions and be vulnerable. We have to be there for them when this occurs, because many of us are taught that men can't show emotions because that makes them weak. I think it's weak if you don't show how you really feel. And you are absolutely right. And let me say this. I asked this question. And gentlemen, I would love to know what you think as well. If men think that being in love is a feeling or a decision, and the overwhelming majority of them think it's a feeling, and because they think it's a feeling, they won't say they love the girl, or they can say, I've never been in love. But when they look at the situation, once I've explained certain things, and they go, man, I didn't know how to deal without her. And man, she helped me be a better man, or she helped A lot of guys really are in love and don't know it because they're waiting for this boom feeling. Like, man, that was just, they're waiting for the heavens to open up and sit on them and go, oh, it feels good. Love is a decision. The feeling of it is after you decided that you're going to open yourself up to do that. But it really is a decision first, because you wouldn't open yourself up. You're going to either stay closed or you're going to open yourself up, one or the other.
To your point, I think as much as anything, love is not just what you say. It's not just what you feel. It's a matter of what you've decided to do. And this is why when I wrote about it, I say the conditions of love. There are ingredients that must be poured into the relationship in order to get what we call the end product, love, to get that product out, to get that fulfillment. And so let's look at some of these responses. Michael Reed says both. And Kareem says men show their emotions and can be vulnerable. I think it takes time, because some people take kindness for weakness, men and women. Yeah. What I like about that is, I like that he said that, but let me also say this. There is a notion, I think I just spoke on this, that kindness is synonymous with weakness.
Right.
People will take your kindness for weakness, and there are some men who are naturally more sensitive than others. Now, in many regards, that's a gift. Some people see it as a curse, but in many regards, that's a gift, because if a man is sensitive, he has the propensity to be more in tune with what's going on in the relationship.
Right.
And one of the things that you find women complaining about the most, woman after woman, when I sit down with these people, they are talking about how disconnected he is, how emotionless he might be, not showing up in the relationship. And it's not that, this is the tricky part. Oftentimes it's not because he's disconnected emotionally. He just doesn't know how to convey to her what he's feeling without appearing to be weak. So he's not comfortable enough. Here's this word again. He's afraid to make himself vulnerable to show her that he's really feeling what it is that she's bringing to the conversation, or what she's bringing. And so they're missing each other because of fear as much as anything else.
Yeah. And that's why I tell my clients, if I have a woman who's dealing with that situation with her man, I'll tell her, you keep being kind just because you are. Why? Because if he's a good guy, I'm not going to say all guys are like this, because there's some jerks out there, right? And just won't comply because of anything. But he needs to be shown how, right? He has to be shown how to bring those things out. And sometimes he doesn't know how. So it's going to take a little bit of patience for him to go, oh, that's how she shows it, or this. But again, he has to be sensitive enough to be vulnerable enough to be in tune with what's happening. And if he's not paying attention, every woman wants to know that he's paying attention. That's really it. That's why she asks. She doesn't. This is the thing. A woman goes to the store and she buys a dress because she thinks she looks good in it. When she comes home and she says, "Baby, what do you think?" She don't care if you think she looks good. She really wants to know if you're paying attention. So because most times, if you come back and be like, nah, I don't really like that, she can be like, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm gonna keep this dress, but she really wants to know if you're paying attention. Yeah, of course she wants to look good for you. I'm not saying that, but she really wants to know, how is he paying attention to me? Did he notice my hair before I said something? Or she doesn't want you. Have you ever heard her say, don't do it because I just told you. You only saying it because I just told you. She wants to know that you paid attention. And that takes sensitivity. It takes a vulnerability. It takes a noticing, and you cracking down on that hard exterior, thinking that you just got to be Tarzan all the time. She doesn't want that.
There is a level of, we talked about this earlier, there's a level of courage that has to be displayed in the relationship in order for it to go to the next level. Watch this. Yeah. Men, we like to think of ourselves as the brave ones, the courageous ones. If I hear a bump in the night, who's going downstairs to look for it? Is it going to be me, or is it going to be my wife? It's probably going to be you, right? But the reason that our relationship, look, this year makes 31 years of marriage for me and my wife. But we wouldn't be where we are right now if she didn't have the courage to go first. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? Now, look,
that's good. That's good.
I'm a tough guy. I'm a man's man. I do what I got to do. I kill a roach, right? I do all that stuff, right? But in the early going, man, I was inside. I was head over heels for my lady, for my wife. Man, I mean, she was the prettiest thing that I had ever had access to. I was crazy about this girl, but I'm cool, right? So I can't show her all that. I got game, right? So I'm trying to be smooth. I don't really want to let her know what's bubbling on the inside of me for this girl. Now, I'm only 16 at the time. She's 17. So as time goes on, as time progresses, we get together, we start spending more time together, hanging out. I want to say some things, but I don't want to appear soft.
Yep.
Right? She tells me, I love you. And I'm like, yeah, you're pretty okay too. Listen, man, he had the courage to go first.
Yes.
And that opened the door for me to say, well, you know what?
I love you too.
I love you too. Had she been dealing with pain enough to the point where she was reserved and not willing to open that door for me to walk through, we may not be where we are right now. So what am I saying? I'm saying that when you find somebody that you feel that is worthy of the investment of your time, somebody has to have the courage to go first.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes, watch this, fellas, sometimes it's the woman.
Yeah. Yeah. And but they say statistically, men fall in love first.
Yeah. A lot of, look, when
but
we
they won't say it. They're
woman,
walking around, they all, and she say, I love you.
Like this. She cool.
Mm-hmm. you love that girl. Stop acting like that and tell her.
The fellas will tease you and be like, oh man, you act like you crazy about the girl. She's straight.
She's straight. She all right. Danielle, one of my clients, she says, keep them hands clean. Because I always tell, keep your hands clean. When you keep your hands clean, everything else will fall into place.
What does that mean?
Okay. What that means is this. If you're having conflict in your relationship, like you just said, somebody got to go first. And then you got to make sure that you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing to keep your relationship 100, right? Let them, if they messing up, mess up. Don't be worried about that. Worry about keeping your hands clean, doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing so that you can always say, I did everything I was supposed to do. Yep. I put forth all of the effort that I was supposed to do. Not 50-50, but 100 and 100. Putting 100% in. If they put in 80, you still put your 100 in. And this is the reason why. Most people that walk away, I think the statistics are somewhere around 40-something% of people that got divorced are regretting after they get divorced. Kanye West is a situation that's in there now. Kim is saying she regrets getting a divorce. Right?
Is it official already?
I thought I heard her say that.
Okay.
So, and so and you know what? A year ago we talked about Kanye, and yep. So, but I'm telling you, people are regretting those decisions because they have not put in 100% of what they could have done. I always ask my clients when they come in going, "Hey, this don't work. We breaking up. Did you do everything that you could?" Right. Because when I have clients that are coming and they not showing up with the way that they need to show up, I tell them, so you didn't do this assignment, and you know that you didn't do that assignment, and you know you didn't do that either. So you giving up. Whose fault is that? Because I really want to know, because you ain't did this and that. Mm-hmm. So when you do everything that you could do, you're keeping your hands clean.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, go ahead.
Elizabeth says, I agree. A man has to pay attention. That is one of the most important things we love and care about. And then she says, congratulations about your 31 years.
Appreciate you.
Yes. I'm not sure what she said exactly for. Okay, but go ahead. What were you going to say?
It's probably something you said that she said.
Because I'm always saying some wisdom and profound things.
And you be dropping some value bombs.
Yes, you too, brother. That's what we're here for.
I don't remember what I was going to say. It's probably not important.
It's always important, but it'll come back to you. So listen, what do you think about, when with the whole delusional, what do you think is the most, did I ask it already? The most delusional things.
Go ahead. Is that it? The question?
What do you think women are delusional about as far as relationships are concerned?
I think that women are delusional about what manhood is. Period. At the foundation, at the core, women are often delusional about what manhood is.
That's good.
And men are equally delusional, oftentimes, about what womanhood is.
Yeah.
And we tend to be very dismissive of these foundational core principles, these core tenets that make up a man, and these core tenets that make up what a woman is. And so we get so sidetracked by what TV and radio and all this entertainment stuff is telling us that a real man is and what a real woman does. I had a client tell me, I don't even know if I should say this on TV. Look, I had a client tell me that he's looking for wife material, but he got to be able to spit in her mouth during sex.
What? But you want her to be wife material? That sounds like
a porn star.
A porn star.
Now look, I'm not look, if that's your thing, do you. But I'm saying if you are dismissing women from your life based on a fetish that you saw on TV, because you don't grow up with these ideas in your mind until somebody plants them in your mind. I never thought about spitting in nobody's mouth. That's nasty as hell to me. I don't want my wife spitting on me. I ain't trying to spit on her. But in his mind, she wasn't good enough if he couldn't get so freaky and so nasty with the sex that she wasn't excited about him spitting in her mouth.
I'd be a little afraid him. And I said it just that way, afraid him. Listen, because he would probably be looking at kids too.
I don't know about that. I'm not going to go that far. But I will say that just to the question that you asked, there are a lot of us who are showing up in this to these relationships. Men, there are many men that are showing up wanting women to do all of these tricks and come with all we want her to be as good and wholesome as our grandmama was, but as freaky as the latest rap star or porn star was. And the two are just, man, if you find that, boy,
hold on. Let me say this, okay? Men think they want that, okay? Because that song, I'm Every Woman, I know a lot of women that can be every woman to their man. She is willing to put on a blonde wig, a red wig, a purple wig, a green wig. She willing to put on all these different things, but he's still going out because he's still looking at the girl down the street. Stop playing them games.
Now, look, let me say this. Another problem that women are having, and this is a key one too. Women are delusional about what men want from them. So, and that's not an accident, right? One of the writers for Cosmopolitan magazine recently came out and admitted that they had been writing trash articles, misguiding women on what it took to keep their men happy. So 40 ways to blow your man's mind in bed and all of these different things that they've been writing over the years, purposely misguiding women as to what it takes to please or satisfy or to be harmonious with the man. So it's not just women's fault that they're showing up with these unrealistic expectations or these unrealistic ideas. In the same regard, it's not all men's fault that we're showing up with these ideas about women that aren't healthy.
Because of the porn stuff.
Because of porn. Society can't sell you a set of tires without putting a woman in her panties on TV. Right. So we're inundated, we're flooded and saturated with all these ideas about what's sexy, what's good, what's exciting and enticing about a woman. When in reality, man, we're just looking. I told y'all, we all have the same 6 basic needs. And I'm telling you, if you can find somebody that you can cooperate with and just break down all that superficial nonsense.
Yeah.
Just start peeling back that stuff that really doesn't matter when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Look, 95% of people's overall happiness can be attributed to how well they're doing in their intimate relationships.
Yes. I'm
going to say that again because I know somebody missed that. As much as 95% of people's overall happiness can be attributed to how well they're doing in their intimate relationships. One of the ways that you know that's true is because you have people out here with more money than they can spend in 3 or 4 generations, and they're blowing their brains out.
Yep.
Right? They're miserable if they're not blowing their brains out. Like you have people out here with more money than they know what to do with, and they are so disharmonious inside because they don't have, look, what is the first thing you want to do when you come in contact with some good news or some great news? You want to share it.
Share it.
And the more meaningful that person is to you, the better you feel about sharing that information or that news or that great fortune. And that comes in the form of an intimate, a harmonious, healthy, intimate relationship.
And look at how bad they got it twisted. You know, they got these different memes out here. If Gates lose his woman, we all in trouble, men. You know, because you think that it's just about the money. Most women, especially nowadays, okay, can go out and get their own money. So what do they want from you? They want time and attention. Okay. Look, most women they're not looking for the things that and that's a delusional, that thing that men are delusional about. They're thinking that the woman, all she needs is a whole bunch of money and you keep her quiet. No, give me some time and attention. Guess what? I saw a post earlier today. Would you go 50-50 in on the mortgage? I will go 50-50 on the mortgage if my man is giving me time and great attention. Because it's hard out here. We can both hit that bag. To each his own. But I want my man, I want him in my face.
Right. Look, I could go out here. My wife is the same way. I could go out here and I could grind and I can get a whole lot more money. But my wife wouldn't be happy with that because like any time that I even think about staying home from work, she's like, yeah, stay home. She is, I mean, she looks for reasons for me to stay home from work.
Yeah, she wants you in her face.
And so this is that to your point about 50-50. Look, the average black man, the average black American man makes about 40 to 45 grand a year. He's going to need a little bit of help if you plan on having some of these nice things that we've become infatuated with, right? And I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. Look, we know what type of society this is, and so we don't have to go into all of that. But there's nothing wrong with you bringing some of those things to the table if you feel like you want to have those things. Here's one thing that people miss about this whole Bill Gates and Melinda Gates divorce. J.P. Morgan, he said, millionaires don't need astrology, billionaires do. I'm going to say that again. Millionaires don't need astrology, billionaires do, right? Bill and Melinda Gates, they are not your average marriage. No. They are an arrangement for the purpose of bringing something else into fruition. We don't have to go into all of that. The details of all of that is probably more than y'all want to talk about.
Talk about today.
But what I'm saying is there are all kinds of arrangements out here. There are all kinds of marriages out here. There are people who might get together and say, hey, you know what? I like you enough. You like me enough. We have great athletic genes. We could get together, make a deal. We could probably get along just fine, make great money, and we can produce some children who are going to be athletic, maybe make it to the NBA, NFL, whatever. And that's their arrangement.
Right.
I'm not here to judge that. If that's what works for you, do you, right? But I'm saying everybody's arrangement isn't rooted in this fantastical idea of love.
Delusional.
And idea. Bill and Melinda Gates had an agreement, not what you and I would consider a marriage.
Yeah. So, and see, this is my thing. I feel like this. If he is paying all the bills, this is just my opinion, my own opinion. If he's paying all the bills, then you put your money towards the fund. Make sure y'all going on some trips with your money. Make sure that y'all doing some things with your money. Let him pay the bills, and then you, baby, we're gonna take care. You know, we gonna do some good things together. Then you that's part of being cooperative.
Look, we have.
You see, she said, "Oh, we want to go back to her." She says that this is the first time.
Where I love your wife.
This is the first time listening to you guys. I love you both. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. We appreciate that. God bless you.
Look, when me and my wife first got married, look, I was only 18, right? And I had ideas about what marriage was, and none of them were going to produce the marriage that we have today.
Yeah.
Right. So one of those ideas that I had was, look, I make all the money. I take care of everything. You just stay home. You take care of the kids. And look, this is my money, but I'm going to give you some. Right. And she was like, nah. She's like, look, everything is everybody's. If whatever comes into the house, this is our money.
Ours.
I'm like, the hell you preach? This I went out here and I earned all this money. This is my money, right?
Oh, you knew no better.
Look, and I know a lot of couples that still function like that right now. I'm not knocking what you got, you do you, right? But what I'm saying, what works for us, she pressed so hard, like you got the wrong idea about marriage. This is where she was coming from. And she said she was so adamant that she had me scratching my head. I'm like, well, damn, maybe I do have it twisted. So I said, all right, well, okay. Everything is everybody's, right?
Yeah.
A couple years later, not even 2 years, 1990, we got married. 1991, she comes into some fortune, untold thousands of dollars, right? She gets that money and she turns to me and she says, what do you want to do with it? Now, rewind a year or so prior to that, if I
Your
had
money.
My money is my money, your money is your money.
She like,
she would have left me driving my Escort GT while she was driving something with a whole bunch of numbers and letters in the name.
Right. See,
what I'm talking about is this idea of higher loving.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. And most people will never get to that because we're so self-centered. Yeah. That's where I was starting from. I ain't gonna lie, I was probably the most selfish person that you could meet. Right. But she had the courage to go first. She helped break me out of that. Yeah. And now here we are with this marriage that people be like, how y'all do that? And then when I try to tell people how to do it, they're like, nah, you soft.
Right.
You cupcaking or you simping. All right.
But the real deal is this. Most men that are happy in their marriages will attribute that happiness to that woman making him a better man.
She done that. I ain't gonna lie. I would not be the man that I am. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't be a good man. It doesn't mean that I might not even still be what some people might consider a great man. But I'm telling you, I would not be the man that I am right now without my wife's contribution. And I'm telling you, I am eternally thankful to that woman because of the way that she pours into my life and the things that she contributes to my life. And it's reciprocal because the more she gives, the more I smell something right now. Hold on.
See, honey, right. See,
the more she gives, the more I want to give back. And that's what that reciprocity is, family. And if you find that, if you find a person that you can practice a reciprocal kind of love and arrangement with, man, you struck gold.
I'm telling you, I love it. It makes me hopeful. Michael Reed says women need to focus on being women, not men. And men need to focus on being men and not women. I think one of the biggest problems that exist in our communities is that men are so focused on women that they have forgotten how to be men. And many women spend so much time worried about men, they've forgotten to be. You are absolutely right. I totally agree. And Danielle agrees as well. I totally agree. Yeah. Elizabeth says society has changed a lot of people's mindset about certain things. She says she was never that way.
Yeah. Danielle said some hugs and kisses are far more meaningful than stuff to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tell you, I love hugs. Honey, ain't nothing like a hug, honey. Mm-hmm. Especially after this pandemic, man. I know me. My body goes through withdrawals if I don't get some hugs. I hug on my friend, my sisters, my kids, some hugs. Need some hugs.
Look, we're in a time right now where I'm not the authority on womanhood. I just love the way my woman shows up. How she does it, I don't know. I don't know what book she read. I don't know what type of prayers and meditation she practices. But I don't know what it means to be a woman. I don't know. You know, I know we have these same basic core needs, but I don't know what it means to be a woman because I don't have the things inside of me that she has in her. What I'm saying is this. I can only enhance that. I can bring out the best in her, but I can't tell her what the best version of being a woman is because I can't necessarily relate to what the best version of womanhood is. We have so many men out here right now trying to tell women what the best version of womanhood is. You can't relate, man.
You can't.
Find you somebody who's willing to be the best version of themselves.
Yes.
With that.
Yes.
But trying to tell your woman how to be, that ain't what womanhood is. You need to be this. Look, I don't want my woman trying to tell me, right? In the same way, she can't tell me what the best version of manhood is. She can tell me what she might want from me, but there are things that when it comes to being a man, she don't know what it is that I'm going through, what I'm dealing with, what I'm battling. So all I do is practice on being the best version of myself and expressing the highest level of manhood that I can manifest. And hopefully she appreciates that as well.
Yes, which is why you have to listen to each other. Like Gabe just says, maybe just telling a woman what they want sounds fair. Absolutely. Yeah. But you have to both be willing to understand that you need to listen. If your husband or your wife says, I need this from you, then you need to be giving that to them. And if you reciprocating that, because if you don't, they're going to be lacking something, and whatever they lack, they're going to fill with whatever you're not giving, whatever you're giving them. What that means is, I love the way my brother always talks about whatever you give to a woman, she's going to multiply. So if she's lacking the time and attention, right, you're giving her emptiness, then she's going to multiply that by telling you that you've given her emptiness, which is going to bring in strife. And all of that is just going to be bigger. So if you want your woman to be quiet and to love on you and to be cooperative, then you tell her and show her how that makes her feel, how that makes you feel by her being those things, and then extending yourself to her first.
Yeah.
You know, because we got to do that. We've been on here. We are 1 hour and 37 minutes in. Listen, we've been doing, this has been really good. Please make sure that you are loving the post. You are sharing this with your family, your friends. Go over to our YouTube page and love on that page by liking and subscribing that page, hitting the red bell so that you can go ahead and get any notification that we're going to have, because we're going to start trying to filter more over to our YouTube page and less on Facebook, because Facebook is making some changes.
I'm about to drop the YouTube link in the chat right now, family. There's the YouTube link. Hopefully that shows up. Does that show up?
Yep, it showed up. Yep, absolutely. So please go over there. Make sure that you are following Coach Vaughn the Love Alchemist, Vaughn the Love Alchemist, on all social media platforms. Follow me, Coach Michelle Monet, on all social media platforms. Make sure that you're loving on ATR, all things relevant, on all social media platforms. This is our Juniversary month, y'all. We're going to be talking straight, no chaser, all month long about some really good conversations. If there's something that you want us to talk about and highlight, make sure that you email us at harmony@hisandherperspective.com. Or you can call us at 304-60-ASK-US. 304-60-ASK-US. Please, if there's something that you want us to talk about, make sure that you hit us up so we can connect with that. Also, we are working on some things so that we can get you all to be able to call in. We're working on that because we've had some requests from a couple of the people last week about being able to call in and talk to us. We're working on that. We have heard you and we are making it happen. Right. So we really love what we're doing. We're doing this because we love people. We love love. We love relationships. We love making them cool again, as my brother says all the time. We really want to make sure that we're helping you, and then you can go ahead and tell them why we want them to pay attention to that.
Yeah, look, I'm not sure where you wanted me to go with that, but I will say this.
What you always say?
I got distracted, so my head was somewhere else. But
did you just get a plate?
I smell something. I don't know what.
See, you know what? Let me y'all. These people love each other. Let me tell y'all. I just really hope that y'all see the love this man has for his wife.
Love is love. So much about love. People get all caught up in the feelings of it, but I'm telling you, as much as anything, it's service, right? And my wife serves me.
Yeah.
I'm not just talking about bringing me a plate and all that stuff. I'm talking about in any way that she can think of that contributes to my life in a way that she thinks makes me happy. And I'm telling you, she likes surprising me with things. And then if I'm happy about what she surprised me with, that makes her happy.
Yep. And she's just overall beautiful that way, period. That's how I got my cups. And I was getting gifts for a whole week. I got this cup. I got my Coach Michelle Monet cup. I got caramel apples. She's just a beautiful person overall. Look, and her just pouring it out to him, I just love to see that.
What I was going to say is that type of energy, with as beautiful as you might think it is, it has to be reciprocated.
Yes.
Right? Because if it's not, like, there are a lot of us who will take advantage of people. Oh man, she'll pay my car note. Oh, he'll get my hair and my nails done. They're giving to you from a cup, right? Hopefully from the overflow, which comes down onto the saucer. If you're not pouring back into them or reciprocating, eventually their cup will get empty. It will be depleted. And then they'll run out of what that feeling good vibe is, that what it takes to keep pouring into you, right? So here's what I'm saying in short. When it comes to this love thing, this relationship thing, all you can do is all you can do. And that's enough.
Yeah.
But you better make sure you do all you can do.
All you can do.
Hey, you could have been anywhere in the world, family, but you're here with us. And for that, we are eternally thankful. We love y'all.
Make sure that you all, one more thing, make sure that you all, if you need some help in learning how to do these things, that's where I want you to go, brother.
I forget that.
See, you forgot. That's okay. I got you. See, we cover each other.
Get my back.
If you are having challenges in doing some of the things that we talked about, being cooperative, learning how to see your partner and learning how to let them be who they are. If you're having those challenges, Coach Vaughn and I, we coach together. We got couples together that we coach. We sit together. If you like him better than you like me, if you like me better than you like him, we just want you to get some help. If you don't like us at all, you just sitting here to just be nosy, go find you another coach. Find some help. Do not think that it's just lost. I'm telling you, there is help. There is help here. We do this every Sunday so that you can kind of see who we are, so that you can, then hopefully hire us, right? But we want you to know that we're here. You can always email us so that we can get on a call with you and your partner, your mate, your spouse, your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, so that we can see about how we can assist you and how we can help. We could talk to you about that. Don't try to do this by yourself and then give up on the person that has been there all this time because you don't think that you can do it anymore.
Yep. That's it.
All right. Now close us back out. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, like I said, man, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. And for that, we are eternally thankful. We love y'all.
We love y'all. Bye.